by nature of your position, people are going to respect you because they respect the position. But you have to be able to have enough relational intelligence, emotional intelligence to be able to connect with people, to then figure out their need. And then that's going to create credibility once you help meet those needs. What's going on, aspiring school leader? I am Dr. Donovan Smalls II, and welcome to Beyond the Classroom. I help aspiring school leaders navigate interpersonal and organizational complexities for greater instructional impact. Now, today's topic is leadership is service. And I'd like to open up our conversation with a quote. And this quote is by Nelson Mandela, and it says, "A leader is like a shepherd. He stays behind the flock, letting the most nimble go out ahead, whereupon the others follow, not realizing that all along they are being directed from behind." And when I started to think about this quote, it's not to say that leaders are not the first person or the first individuals to go ahead to see and scape out what we need to do in order to be better for our students and for our teachers. It's not about that. When I think about this quote, I'm thinking about how leadership is about servitude. It's about seeing how you can best serve the individuals that you lead, but then giving them the autonomy to ultimately be who they are, exercise the skills that they have in order to achieve the goal. So yes, you might be setting the vision in a particular area. And when I say setting the vision, as a new leader or as an aspiring leader, once you get into your particular role, depending on what it is, you might not be solely responsible for setting the overall vision. However, based on, let's say you are a supervisor, based on your particular role and whatever vision central office sets for you, you might then have the responsibility or be tasked with setting a vision for your particular department, right? And so although you're setting the vision, it doesn't mean that you set all the steps in order to reach the goal. But it does mean that you have conversations with the people that you are leading. So then it allows you to figure out how you can best serve them as they exercise their expertise and their skills in order to meet the overall vision that you have set. So it's all done in collaboration, right? And so that's what I think about when I think of this quote. I think about how there are times when we need to be leading by going first, but there are also times when we need to set a vision, but then allow the individuals who we serve to then carry out that vision. And yes, you are directing things from behind and from the ground floor, but you are allowing people to be who they are so that they can reach the vision according to whatever it is that you have set. And it kind of reminds me of whenever you go to a restaurant, the whole premise is to serve. It's to serve the customer, right? It's to make sure that you have an experience that is going to be immaculate, that is going to be exceptional, right? And so the way that they do that is obviously you will come in, you would meet the hostess, and then that hostess might take you to your table, and then you would be met with your server. And so your server is really important because they are there to figure out what it is that you need and then figure out how they can meet your needs, right? And so when I think about a server, their whole responsibility is to meet your expectations and to make sure that you are satisfied. And that's kind of what it's like as a school leader. It's not that you are the one that's constantly dictating. That's not how you lead, right? By nature of your position, people are going to respect you because they respect the position. But you have to be able to have enough relational intelligence, emotional intelligence to be able to connect with people, to then figure out their need. And then that's going to create credibility once you help meet those needs, right? And so, servers have to multitask. They have to be able to prioritize what's important to you in order to meet your expectations, right? They also have to be able to problem solve, because sometimes you might order a steak and you might order it as medium. However, they might bring it out as well done, and you might communicate that's not what I ordered. And so they have to figure out a solution to the problem. And that's kind of how it's like to be a school leader sometimes, right? Like, you might have heard one thing, and then you might have created some sort of program to meet that particular need, but that program might actually not meet the need. And then you might have to go back to the drawing board and kind of figure out how to tweak it, to tailor it to the individuals that you serve, right? So there's a lot of comparison as it relates to being a server and as it relates to being a school leader, because again, the heart of leadership, the foundation of leadership is leading people, but the foundation of leadership and leading people is servitude. You have to be able to assess how can you best meet the needs of the individuals that you serve. So even if you're setting some sort of goal this particular school year, or when you get your position as a school leader, if you're setting goals, don't just set the goal based on your own limited way of thinking, right? We all have limited ways of thinking. And so we must think and consider the people who we are serving, because that's how you truly make an impact. That's how you truly gain credibility. That's how you truly then exercise some influence, right? That's how you gain influence. It's by committing to serving the people who you are entrusted with leading. And then I'm also thinking about teamwork and collaboration. So once you become a school leader, I want you to think and really lean on your team, because there are going to be times when you don't know how to best serve the individuals who you are responsible for supervising. There may be a particular need for a teacher in order for them to get better, but you might not have all the expertise to try to figure it out. And one of the signs of being an effective leader is in your ability to be humble. And an important sign of being humble, right? The way that you can tell that somebody is humble is in their ability to ask questions. Because when you ask questions, it shows and it demonstrates that you don't know everything. And none of us do. And that is not the point of being a leader. The point of being a leader is being able to solve problems. And the way that you do that is by leaning on other people. That's why teamwork and collaboration is really important to your ability to be able to serve other people, right? It's not in you figuring things out on your own. It's in you taking things back to the team so we can collaboratively figure it out. And then you might go back and be able to help the teacher with their classroom management, or help them with their assessment, or help them with the ability to connect with people, or help them with the ability to infuse culturally responsive teaching into everything that they do in the classroom, right? So it's not about you being a gatekeeper of information or of instruction. It's about you figuring out what your particular a team can come up with in order to best serve the people that you are responsible for leading. So again, the similarities between being a server at a restaurant and the similarities between being a school leader are the same, or very similar, should I say. And the reason being, again, is because leadership is about servitude. That is the highest form of leadership. And I know we talk about different, and we've learned about, leadership models, transformational leadership and situational leadership and all of these different things. But I'm a firm believer in servant leadership. I just think that when it comes to leading people, when it comes to actually creating change, you have to be a servant leader, because leadership is service. So I'd like to leave you with 3 principles to remember as you prepare to step into your role as a school leader. And those three principles are: lead by empowering others, put people first, and serve with humility. So lead by empowering others. That really focuses on you tapping into the greatness of other people. Nobody wants to be micromanaged. It's okay to inspect what you expect, but nobody wants to be micromanaged. You have to, especially when you're coming in and you're new to a situation, or you're new to a school and you're new to leadership, it's really important to collaborate with other people so that you can empower them to be the best that they can be, right? How are you meeting their needs? How are you helping to serve them? That's what you should be focused on, particularly when you step into your leadership role. How can you empower them by figuring out collaboratively what their needs are, and then providing them with the resources to meet their goals? Again, the second principle is put people first. Not your agenda, not your schedule. And the thing about your schedule is your schedule is going to be jam-packed every day, especially if you plan properly. However, it's really important to put people first. So if there's an emergency, if there's something that really needs your time and attention, your schedule should not be the priority at that time and point. If somebody really needs you, if there's an emergency in the building, if somebody got hurt, if somebody truly needs assistance, if you're on your way up to the main office because you know that you need to finish an observation, but a teacher is asking you if you can cover their classroom for a brief second while they step out because they have an emergency, you need to make sure that you put people first. And putting people first means looking at them and their humanity and understanding that, yes, we all have a job to do, but at the end of the day, the way that I can best serve you right now is by tending to your particular needs, and we can get the work done because it's going to get done. But we also have to understand that there's always more work to be done. And so that work, it will get done as long as we put people first. Putting people first is extremely important when it comes to you being a servant leader. And then lastly, serve with humility. When you are new, when you are aspiring, and then when you transition into your school leadership position, you have to understand that people know when you're new. People know when you don't know. And a sign of strength is in your ability to be humble, your ability to be vulnerable. You don't have to fake it. People already know if you don't know an answer. And if you give them an answer just to try to come up with something to sound intelligent or to sound like you know what you're doing, that's when you start to lose credibility. People would rather you not have an immediate answer, but then go back to the team. Again, we're leaning back on the team to collaboratively figure out things so that you can come back with some solid and practical advice. And so when you serve with humility, when you lead with humility, you are actually putting people first. And then when you help figure out a solution collaboratively, you can empower them to be the best that they can possibly be. So I want you to consider, I want you to always think about how you can serve other people, because that's what leadership is. Leadership is about meeting the needs of others. Leadership is about understanding and assessing their needs and figuring out how you can constantly meet those needs. And then that's how you gain credibility. That's how you increase your impact. That's how you increase your influence. I hope this video added value to you. And if it did, go ahead and share it with somebody else. As always, I hope you have a great week of teaching, leading, and learning. Take care.